Hey guys, Deb here with Art and Grace. Come on in. We're going to do something a little different than what I typically do on here. Usually doing glass and resin, but tonight we are doing a little decoupage, stamping, and painting. So a sweet friend, Joanne Whitfield, sent me a bunch of hem pages. I do love using things like this in art when I can. So I am going to use this as a background for our little painting tonight, and then I'm going to show you how you can even incorporate stamps into your art. I'm going to use some decoupage gloss to get this started. Always grab an old paintbrush. I try to keep them separate from my good ones, and I am wetting that a little bit. Tap it off on a paper towel or something, and I'm going to start putting this down, but not in one full piece. I'm going to be tearing this up, and I know, sometimes I feel bad to tear book pages or hem pages. It seems like especially hem pages, but this is for the sake of art. It's going to be pretty, so I don't like putting this on too thick, so I'm doing a little section at a time, and I might as well kind of cut off a lot of the white part, and we'll put things a little bit angled, not exactly straight. I might have to grab another one if I'm cutting out so much, and then just add a little more decoupage medium on here. I am using the DecoArt brand decoupage medium, but whatever you enjoy using is totally fine. This one has never failed me, so I keep using it. There you go. Now that covers the whole thing. We're going to put a little paint wash over it because obviously these words are way too bold. It wouldn't let us show our painting very well. All right, let me dry that. Okay, so I want to put a little wash of paint over this, and I usually do like white or buttermilk or something kind of soft. Let's just grab one of these little cups, a little bit of water. You don't need a whole lot, and then just a little bit of paint. Any brush will work. Grab a little of this buttermilk, a little white in it just to lighten it up, and then start with just a little until you see how much color you have. I'm just going to mute this background. Our color will come from our stamp I'm going to use and paint, but you'll still see the words. That's what we have so far. I muted it. I should have shown you the before, but I think I'm going to add just a little bit more white. I like to finger paint, you guys, so sometimes I just take my finger with some white paint. This is what I do. I'll just kind of put a little bit when I don't need much. I'm not even going to worry about a palette, and just kind of put it on. Y'all see the process here? Just kind of, you can do this with any paint. Of course, this is acrylic. You can use chalk paint or whatever you have and like to use, but that kind of mutes it quite a bit in spaces, in places, and allows us to paint on it and not have so many distractions in the background. So kind of like to do that. There we go. That's more what I was picturing. Much more muted. All right, let me dry this and we'll go to the next step. All right, here we go. So here's the stamp that I am excited to use. As you can see, I haven't even opened it, but it is so cute. You see the birds? I could not find my big stamp pad. We're gonna have to make this work. Okay, so I'm going to add that to my little backing here. Hopefully we can make this work. And I'm going to stamp black and pray this works, but I will test it on something first. So let's just test it. Oh, that's not a lot of ink, is it? Probably need a new one. Oh, good, that will work. Okay, so just ink it up real well. We'll be careful and put it down, press really hard, and then try to press evenly if you can on this part that doesn't have a back, and there you go. Okay, that'll be good enough. I'm going to dry this with the heat because we don't want this to, you know, get in our paint and run. And then you can just paint, you know, use it as your guide. So instead of having a tracer or something, you can just use your paints. I did pull all my happy colors. So watch how easy. Talk about easy. When you've got something to work with, you don't have to think about it. You can just kind of add to it. So we're going to go into our green with a angled brush, dip down in our Citron, and give some grass down here. We need to put a tree on here, and I will. Okay, so let's do a little tree that she's sitting on. Same brush. There's her little branch. Just kind of putting this off to one side. Put a few little sprigs here at the bottom. Y'all, so easy. So get those stamps out and use them in your art. Okay, that's what we have so far. You'll see, Will. Now, all the fun colors for our bird. I'm going to use a #1 round. I'm going to grab some white, a little bit of our blue. It is Grecian Blue, one of their new ones. So pretty. I try not to buy all the colors, but I am so happy I did get these. They're so pretty. Now I am going to go ahead and just do a few things while I have this blue on my brush. Oh, if I'd been thinking I would have used that coral color, that would be pretty. I'll work it in. I'm really just kind of playing. I'm not even necessarily following my stamp very well. I'm kind of just, you know, it gives you a nice guide to use a stamp, but you don't have to stick with it. Yellow is real translucent, so add just a little bit of white when you use it, and it will make it more opaque. Let's use our coral. Y'all, this is my favorite of the bunch, although that blue is a close second. So let's add coral to the mix. This should be brightening up somebody's day. So we want to just use all the colors, right? can put it on their desk or be by the sink when you're doing dishes. You can look at it. I'm adding white to that coral for our petals. You're letting the brush do the work, so it's nothing hard about it. I'm using a little more white where the little ink line is. That will cover that dark ink. Okay, that's what we have so far. Look. Keep going. Add a little purple. This purple is really pretty. By the way, speaking of purple, remember that I need your help for our 6th annual Alzheimer's event. I definitely need help to go live, to auction their items that they make. I need to share posts and things. There's lots of ways to help. You don't have to go live to help, or there's just lots of ways. So on my website, I've got its own page. Go to the Alzheimer's page and read about it. Then you can sign up to get information, or you can sign up to help. You know, if you know you want to do it, just go ahead and sign up on my team and get on there to help me. It is such a worthy cause, and let me know if you have been affected by Alzheimer's, because I do that every year. I ask, and it's really pretty shocking how most of us have been affected personally. Either, you know, someone in our family or our spouse's family, but in our case, we've had it in both. So lots of help is needed. And it's such an honor. It's how I honor my mom and her struggle, and her parents as well. Both parents, she took care of them in their final years. And now, you know, I've lost my family. However, I want to keep doing it for all of y'all. Anybody else that needs that help, because they are getting close to answers. They've got new medications that do help. So kind of when we join together, we can do a lot. We got that. Let's do more yellow on that inside, I think. Right here. I'm doing all this with this number 1 round. Let's also use a little of that coral and yellow, maybe a little touch of brown for her legs. This part, the yellow, has some leaves in it that you can barely see, but I am going to go and paint in here some leaves. I'm going to do a little light pink over my pink there. Let's do a few dots on our little thing, and I think I'm going to do blue for fun. And then blue on a little detail brush to kind of separate the petals. Just something fun and different. You can start with white so that it has a background. And then I'll do brown so it won't be so harsh as a black. Little dot. So you see that part so far? And a little dot. I put one kind of large mark right there, and then underneath I put a little tiny dot. There, let's go back to that number 1. Okay, let me hold that up. Look at her tail. How fun. Maybe some flowers around the bottom and we'll be done. So let's just add a few. Let's add a little bit of this citron green now that it's dried, and it will kind of sit on top. If you're using them together, which I do, but you know, it will kind of blend. But when it's all dry, you can go back with this citron green and put it kind of on top, and it's so pretty. So taking my coral with a little white, doing a base. I'm going to grab a little white. Just do some little commas around it. Don't really need to do much on the tiny ones. Tell you what I'm going to do. Bahama Blue. We're just going to lightly, so you saw me, I'm telling you guys, finger painting is fun. And this is a very whimsical little thing. You don't need to stress and think, oh, I've got to, you know, I can't paint. Yes, you can. This is, we're using our fingers and a little water to give more of a wash look to this and give it a little color up here, but not all over. You know, just kind of get it on like that to represent a little sky. You can use a paintbrush if you want to, but we're keeping it super simple and very loosey-goosey, you know. I like that. Just kind of a wash. Let's dry that and we'll do some micron pen on it. I do prefer micron over pit pen. I mean, I prefer pits over micron, but use whatever. And I use usually a 3 or a 5, which is the nib. So that little thing on the end, can y'all see that, is the nib. And this is a 5. It's my probably favorite. It's a little larger, but I like to do, oh, I need to hold that towards you. I like to do kind of a sketchy little, like I'm doing, you know, just kind of back and forth, make it sketchy. But you can outline it if you want. You can skip this part. But I definitely want to outline her. This reminds me of a little ATC card I made once, artist trading card. Your paint does need to be had a colorful bird on it. You can see that on my YouTube. It's really ruin the tip of them. That's it. Super cute and easy. The only other thing you could do, or you might want to do, is go around with gold or some color that you like. You guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.